guys, it's Kayla, and welcome back to Shuffle. Where we left off last time, we were just about to meet Kaede, so let's jump back in. Reen, a familiar voice called my name. Reen, it's morning. It was the same gentle voice that wakes me up every morning. In my fuzzy consciousness, I gradually recognized that it was time for me to wake up. Reen. With the utmost effort, I fought off my sleepiness and opened my eyes. Good morning, Reen. A girl with an extraordinary smile appeared in front of me. If you had taken any longer to wake up, I would have pulled the covers off of you. She pinched one of the corners of the duvet between her fingers in front of me for a second before she gracefully let it go. You can take away the covers, but will you please let me sleep longer today? Last night I tried so hard to study for today's English exam. So you were studying? No, I tried to, but I never made it to my desk. To my response, she didn't bother saying I knew it and just giggled. I don't mind letting you sleep, but you'll miss out on breakfast. Today's miso soup has your favorite Namako mushrooms in it. That's very appealing. The girl observed me fondly with her hands clasped behind her back. I can't help it. Everyone needs sleep, but satisfying your appetite is equally important. Only 28 seconds into the round, appetite won by a gazelle punch knockout. The match that unfolded in my mind ended with a knockout punch, and I rose up as if I was the one defeated. I'll leave your change of clothes here. With a satisfied look on her face, the girl placed the clothes by my pillow. Kaede, I'm basically an open book to you, aren't I? I wouldn't say that. I'm just aware of your preferences, that's all. Fuyo Kaede. Simply put, she's a childhood friend of the same age. The Tsuchimis and Fuyos were close family since our fathers were longtime friends from school. Because of this relationship, when my parents passed away 8 years ago, the Fuyos provided me with a place to stay for free. Kaede lost her mother in the same accident as my parents, and has been doing all of the housework since then. Since I was the freeloader, one would think that I should be helping out with the housework, but Kaede refused to let me help out. In the past, when I tried to help out, on the verge of tears, she told me, "Please, do not take away my only purpose in life." Well, it's only true that Kaede was a lot more efficient and better at it than me. Whenever I tried to help, I just caused trouble. But anyway, the point is that among all my acquaintances, ours was the longest standing relationship. Those months and years spent together were certainly not brief, and that became the most evident in moments like these. Breakfast is ready, so please come down as soon as possible. Got it. Kaede smiled in answer to my rather absent-minded response and left the room. Is your father's business trip pretty long this time? I thought I heard it was overseas. Yeah, it seems like this one's gonna be a long one. He said that it might take 3 to 4 months. Plot convenience. What was he thinking, leaving a young boy and girl alone in a house for that period of time? It means that he trusts you, Reen. I wonder about that. I seem to recall him gleefully saying, "Your parent approves, so do your best," as he left for this trip. I think he should think about his daughter's future more carefully. Guys already keep their distance from you just because we're living together. Could have any guy you wanted if you put your mind to it. I think he's looking out for me quite a bit. Huh? Never mind. Anyways, we should get going. We're already running a little late. Kaede started to move quickly to hide her blushing cheeks. I tilted my head in confusion and followed her. Then, suddenly, we stopped in front of our neighbor's house on the right side. Oh yeah, it seems like we have a new neighbors on both sides now. A traditional Japanese-style architecture house on the right, a modern Western-style architecture house on the left. I was previously occupied by a common office worker family, but they disappeared all of a sudden, along with the house itself. It wasn't just one house either. A total of 8 houses, 4 from each side, disappeared all at once. I'm not exaggerating either. They really disappeared that abruptly. I went to school in the morning, and when I came back later that evening, all that remained were empty lots. That's strange. Then when I went to school the next morning and came back later that evening, new houses were already constructed. From the point of view of our modest upbringing, the new houses were like a dream. I wouldn't be surprised if they got used in some kind of television drama or mystery suspense movie. They were quite the brilliant view. As if it were bewitched, it was truly a magical sight. Of course, this mysterious spectacle had become popular among neighborhood children and came to be known as the Magic House. Yes, it seems like it. I haven't met our new neighbors yet. Maybe we should go and introduce ourselves soon. I don't think that's necessary. Plus, shouldn't they be the ones coming to us? I'm sure they're busy moving. They'll come once they're settled. That said, I resumed walking. It took about 15 minutes to walk from Fuyo House to the school. Compared to other students, we lived in a pretty good location. At a slightly quicker pace than usual, we followed our blessedly short school route. We saw more students as we got closer of the school's vicinity. Humans, gods, and demons, young people of various races commuting to school in uniforms must be a sight unique to this school. National Verbena Academy. Constructed only 5 years prior, the history, building, and facilities were all new at this school. The world drastically changed after the incident 10 years prior. The Verbana Academy was established in order to respond to that change. The gateway opening. The general public referred to the incident 10 years ago by that name. A gateway that connected the human realm to other dimensions was opened on that day. Gods lived in the God realm, demon lives in the demon realm. A gateway that connected these two realms suddenly appeared, and these non-human species entered into our realm. They manipulated powers called magic like it was nothing, and made it known to the world that it wasn't just a fantasy. We believed those two realms and their inhabitants only existed in legends. The fact that they actually existed in reality completely transformed the world itself in a matter of a few years. All of a sudden, our world saw immigrants from the god and demon realms, and their presence became more and more familiar. Moreover, since humans are unable to use magic, alchemy spread as a different form of magic. New regulations were enforced based on that, and the human realm was headed toward a future that no one could have foretold. This school made efforts to effectively respond to this unforeseen future, a space where humans, gods, and demons could study together. It was also a school where proper knowledge and control of magic was taught. Similar schools were established in various places, and they were all modeled after this one. A sudden impact hit me square in the back, but I avoided the fall by putting my foot right out. I knew exactly who the culprit was. There was only one person I knew of who could do such a thing. I spun around even as the pain spread and yelled out that person's name. Asa senpai! Hey there! It was an unsophisticated and overly predictable scene. There she was, the person I knew all too well was never, ever short of energy. Good morning, Asa senpai. Arriving at school together? Close as always, I see. So, was that attack just now fueled by jealousy? Arriving at school together? Close as always, I see. Reen, are you okay? Reen, girls are easily hurt, so you have to choose your words carefully. I'm almost positive that I'm more easily hurt than you are, Asa senpai. Now, all boys should train their bodies so they're prepared to protect girls at any given moment. I think I'm doing all right with the training. In other words, you still have a long way to go. Well, I'm gonna go on ahead. Don't be flirting too long. That class bell's about to ring. Asa senpai gave us a big wink and ran off ahead with all her might, but then she came back as if she remembered something. She latched onto my arm and squeezed close. I felt a certain fullness press up against me. That's an apology for slapping you. Asa senpai smiled at me. After she released my arm, this time she really ran off. Well, how can I say this? It felt really good. Asa Shigure, she was Kaede and my seniors. We'd known her since junior high. Kaede used to be in the cooking club in junior high, and that's where she had met Asa senpai, so I met her through Kaede, and the next thing we knew, we'd established a strange type of relationship. She was helpful and a good cook. As a senpai, she gave me no reason to complain. Asa senpai is full of life as always. She's full of more life than is enough for both of us. My body can't take much more of that. It's hard to believe she's the head of the cooking club. Surely any number of sports clubs would love to have her. Kaede tried to avoid the subject with a dry laugh. I see, so she must have been invited by quite a few of them. Aren't you going to join the cooking club, Kaede? They're still asking you to, aren't they? I found something more valuable than club activities. There was nothing dishonest about her smile, so even I tried to think of something to say. Inevitably, nothing would come to mind. Even if I somehow figured out what that valuable thing was, oh well, if Kaede said it's more valuable to her, I had no reason to deny that. We ended the conversation there and hurried into school right before the bell rang for class. Welcome, Kaede. Come into my arms. Sorry, you missed. Oh, welcome, Reen. Come into my chagrin. What's a chagrin? It was always the same. I was always welcomed in the morning by Itsuki's passionate embrace. It disgusted me like no other, but I'd rather he hugged me than Kaede. You never give up, do you? Can't you think about me who gets hugged by you every morning? If anything, you should think about how I feel. I'm the one who has to hug you every single morning. Anyway, why are you so full of spirit? Didn't you have your date with Miss Benny yesterday? Oh yeah, I thought I was gonna die. Even with my extraordinary brain and reflexes, I still have my limits. Stamina and reflexes are separate things. He wasn't always walking around picking up girls for nothing. He was a freakish, monstrous personification of stamina. Kaede giggled as he watched our exchange. Good morning, Itsuki. Good morning, Kaede. Your enduring cuteness is a crime. May I arrest you for it? What kind of pickup line is that? Would it kill you to be more self-aware? With a deeply disgusted look on her face, a female student walked over to join us. Good morning, Mayumi. Hey. Mayumi Thyme. Like Itsuki, she had been our classmate for 2 years straight. She was an extremely rare mix of demon and human. Oh, I didn't know she was a mix from the anime. She always had her camera in hand, even though she wasn't part of the newspaper club, and caused a ruckus wherever she went. But she was always one who spoke her mind, a trait that I always found very desirable. With a face like mine, it's extremely effective to use just a touch of cheese. Mayumi, I would speak to you the same way if you had just a bit more of a bust. I vehemently, violently, and fiercely reject you. Girls with small busts like me are a rarity. The possibility of encountering a girl with a below average size is low as well. Going by ratios, girls like me have considerable market value. She puffs up with pride as if to show off her non-existent bust. Mayumi. She's right, there are a handful of people who prefer and are only interested in that kind of. Even so, it's uncommon for a girl to sell herself so readily like that. In any case, we shouldn't let Midoriba anywhere near the transfer students. Oh? Oh yeah, I heard rumors. Oh, do we already know? Nothing too detailed, but I did hear they're coming tomorrow. Both of them are joining our class. Both of them? Well, considering the nature of our school, I understand that there would be many transfers. I take it they're not humans, right? That's all I know at the moment. But isn't it strange how both of them are transferring into the same class? Well, it is a little weird. What if they both requested to be in the same class as their crush? Sounds like someone's been reading way too many comics. Seriously, this isn't just some opportunistic dating sim. Right. I wanted to ignore him as much as possible, but this is getting unbearable. What's up, Itsuki? What's with that creepy grin on your face? Well, it's just, if they don't want me near them, that means at least one of the two is a girl. Just thinking about that excites me. Meeting a woman for the first time is always a joyful and moving experience. Plus, based on my intuition, I can smell that she's gonna be first rate. What do you think you're smelling, man? The words I let out with a sigh was interrupted by the door as it swung open. Okay, everyone, it's time for homeroom. As soon as the students heard Miss Spinny announce the start of class with her clear, resonating voice, they all scurried back to their seats. The start of another day at Urbana Academy. The same routine happens again today. Basically, aside from the incident 10 years ago, there were other times when gateways to other realms were opened. It's assumed to be the cause of mysterious disappearance. As humans entered other realms, there were some who also had offspring. We have one such descendant as one of our classmates as all the proof we need. She glanced at Mayumi as she explained. Mayumi acknowledged this with a peace sign. Humans had entered the demon realm before the opening of the gateway. Mayumi was a descendant of such a human, making her a half-demon. Although, since her human blood overpowered the demon blood, she couldn't use magic at all. Finally, after 3 years, the gateway closed once again. It had reached its limit during the experimental stage. If it were to be opened any longer, the magic used to keep it open would get out of control, possibly causing a catastrophe. Last December, the gateway was opened again, based on the data gained in the experiments. I'm sure that's still fresh in your mind since it was quite the festivity. All of this opening, the three realms are said to be permanently connected, but airspace magic is one of the most complicated, so we can't be optimistic just yet. That's the history of the gateway that connects the three realms. By now, it's common knowledge, so make sure you know it. If you miss a question related to this at the end of the semester, be prepared to do squats while you're holding weights. Without a hint of hesitation over this horrible punishment, Miss Binny closed the textbook. At the same time, the school bell rang, ending class. That's it for today. Make sure you eat a good lunch and be prepared for class in the afternoon. The class rep called for us to stand. Miss Binny started to head out of the classroom. But then she suddenly stopped halfway. Hey, Tsuchi! I know you're not in a hurry for lunch wars since Fuyo makes lunch for you. Follow me. Huh? Me? Still confused by her curt invitation, I follow Miss Binny down the hall. What is it? Well, it's not that big of a deal, but did you have any non-human friends as a child? How can I put this? I just want to make sure of something. So can you think of anyone? I don't really remember that far back, to be honest. Stuff like that's never really concerned me either. I see. Well, that's understandable. Why do you ask me that? Well, it's really nothing special, I think. You're not your usual articulate self, Miss Binny. It's just a bit of a nuisance has presented itself. Anyway, that's all I can say right now. Miss Binny looked at me with a serious face, then placed her hand on my shoulder. Good luck. Huh? Love is an inevitable part of youth after all. There's no denying that. So don't give up. I'll do my best to support you. Her rather serious eyes scared me. What's going on? What the heck happened? Miss Binny? Don't forget, it's all about willpower. Do your best to survive. Don't ever think about giving up. That said, Miss Binny left. What exactly do I need to look out for? I stood there alone, confused for a moment before heading back to the classroom where everyone was waiting. Class ended for that day, and the free time after school began. I picked up my empty bag and walked over to Kaede's seat. Hey, Kaede. Hi, Reen. Hope you had a good day. You said we're low on rice. You're stopping by the store, right? I had just gone to the store yesterday but didn't realize we were low on rice, so we had to go again today. Yeah, but you can go on home. I'll go with you. Rice is too heavy for you to carry. I interrupted Kaede and stated my opinion loud and clear. As expected, Kaede shook her head and said, that won't be necessary. I'm actually quite confident that I'm strong enough. She showed me her non-existent biceps. I see, good for you. But I have so much energy to expend. I feel like I'll go berserk if I don't use it. So I'm going with you to carry the bags. Please don't. It's my life's purpose to serve you, Reen. If I make you carry the bags, I don't think I can ever forgive myself. It was the same thing she said every time, but I wasn't going to give up there. If I gave in and let her go alone, it was me who couldn't forgive myself. I responded with the argument I saved for this moment. So, that means it's okay for me to carry you back home in my arms with you carrying the groceries, right? You'll still be carrying the groceries that way. Huh? What? That's... So it's decided. You'll carry the groceries and I'll carry you. If you're not going to let me carry those bags, that's the only option I'm left with. Kaede's face was blushing bright red as she silently searched for a comeback. Victory was mine. Even Kaede had to surrender to that. I'd been totally dependent on her recently. That's why I had to force her to let me help her out this time. A few seconds later, Kaede came to a conclusion as well. She lifted her head and bashfully said, I'm okay with that. What? That's an unexpected answer, Kaede. Normally, wouldn't you let me carry the bag since it's too embarrassing to be carried in my arms? Kaede, are you... So, let's get going, Reen. Kaede took her bag and walked toward the door of the classroom. She had a curiously happy look on her face. Is rice the only thing that we needed to buy? I asked Kaede to make sure as I hefted the bag that was too heavy for her. She responded immediately. Yeah, you got everything else we needed yesterday. I'm so sorry that I did this to you 2 days in a row. This really should be my job. It's not your job. You do all the other housework. I can at least help with the shopping. No, taking care of you is all I have. Don't take away my reason to live. Oh, that's a little weird. What could I say? Whenever that topic came up, Kaede always got really touchy. I'm not trying to take anything away. I'm just really grateful and I worry that I might be a burden. If you're grateful, then let me keep taking care of you. You're not a burden at all. Kaede said this with a cheerful smile. I could never argue anymore after seeing that smile. There's definitely no weapon as unfair as a beautiful girl's smile. By the way, about what I said at school. She blushed and started to mumble. I couldn't understand anything she was saying, but I had an idea of what she was trying to say. I don't mind if it's, right away, but, She suddenly stopped after mumbling something. What's wrong, Kaede? I'm sorry, it's just, I forgot that I used up all of miso soup this morning. I'll hurry and go buy some. Could you wait here for a moment? Oh, no worries. I'll go with... No, I just need to get miso. You just relax, okay? But, Kaede controlled me again with her smile and headed back to the supermarket. Well, I guess it's just one thing she forgot. There's really no reason for both of us to go. I told myself this and leaned up against a wall to wait. I watched all the people walking around. There were quite a few from other realms, gods, demons. They were all definitely still the minority, but their numbers had certainly shot up over the past 3 months. And one reason Verbana Academy existed was that our town had become more diverse. It was normal now to see people from other realms. Seeing them was a part of everyday life. Wah! I suddenly hear the sound of a crying girl. It was so loud that it sounded like it came from a speaker at full volume. I quickly look around and found the source immediately. Not too far away from me was a little girl standing in the road crying. She must have gotten separated from her mom or something. Despite her loud cries, it appears that her mom was nowhere to be found. I guess she's lost. I tried to remember what it was like to be her age. I only had a few memories of my own mom. I'd never gotten separated from her, but I did go shopping with her a lot. I waited and kept my eye on the girl for a while, but she kept crying. No one stopped to help her. Even if they saw her, they just passed her by like she was a pebble in the road. Okay. I pushed off the wall and walked towards her. I worked my way through the opposite direction of the crowd and crouched down beside her. I matched my height with hers to help reassure her and smiled as nicely as I could. What's wrong? Are you lost? I placed my hand on her head. She didn't respond. Instead, she just... started crying even louder. She must have been really scared. The feeling you get when someone who should be there isn't, I knew that feeling so well that it hurt. So I tried reassuring her again. It's okay. We'll find your mom soon. Can you tell me her name? But I couldn't just leave her there. I just smiled and kept patting her head, waiting for her to stop crying. Reen, is she lost? Back from the store, Kaede crouched down next to me. Her observation skills were spot on as always. Okay, we'll help you look for your mom. I was really grateful for Kaede, who just volunteered to help like that without any sort of hesitation. Sorry, Kaede. No, don't worry about it. You're always so kind to others, Reen. I love that about you. Kaede turned that same kind of smile to the little girl. The girl must have had an eye for people because she stopped crying immediately. It's getting kind of late. It is. I'm glad we found her mom. Kaede and I finally found the girl's mother after going back and forth on Komorebi Street 3 times. It had gotten fairly late. The sky began to redden, and before long it was already dark. We talked about everyday things like what to do for dinner, about the final exams right around the corner as we walked home together. But then I couldn't hide it anymore. Kaede, by the way. Yeah? I looked away to hide my nervousness. Kaede waited with a gentle smile. I knew the more I put it off, the more embarrassing it would become. I needed to forget what ifs. I just need to go for it. A promise is a promise. Huh? I picked Kaede up in my arms. I literally swept her off her feet. Reen? She became completely red, delicately lifting her face to look at me. Let me know if you feel embarrassed, and I'll put you right back down. People around us were of course staring. Some teased us, but others only seemed to look on jealously. I was prepared for people to act like that. I'm okay. More than embarrassment, I'm just really happy. Kaede's expression as she said that was definitely embarrassed, but her smile was truly happy. She clutched onto my shirt with her left hand, which kind of made me blush. But after seeing how beautiful her face looked, a little embarrassment was no problem at all for me. Well, I guess I wasn't just a little, it was pretty embarrassing. Reen, are you sure I'm not too heavy? Even holding the rice, you're so light. You might want to think about gaining some weight. I don't know about gaining. She grimaced playfully at me. It was pure bliss feeling the weight and warmth of her body in my arms. Thank you for boarding our direct flight to the Fuyo residence today. Please relax and prepare for takeoff. Yay! I'm sure my face was pretty red, but let's just say it was the color of the sunset. Since I had my beloved princess in my arms, I walked home a bit slower than normal. Reen, are you still awake? I heard her voice behind the door and placed the magazine I was reading on the side of my bed. Yep, I'm still awake. Sorry, then can I have just a minute? It seemed like Kaede just got out of the bath. The smell of soap wafted over from her slightly flushed skin. If Itsuki were here, I'm sure he would have been all over her already. He's never allowed to sleep over at our house. What is it? Something wrong? No, I just wanted to let you know that you can take a bath anytime now. You just finished? That's pretty late for you, isn't it? I asked when I happened to notice it was already just before midnight. Mayumi called and reminded me that our math homework was due tomorrow. Homework? I was up late finishing that. Math? Mr. Matsushima, right? The teacher who likes to give supplementary lessons? Yes, if you forget, you have to face a week of extra lessons. A week? I see. Yeah, that sounds like Matsushima. Kaede, I have a favor to ask. Yeah, I knew you'd forget, so I brought it with me. She handed me her notebook along with a smile like a goddess. The notebook with her name on it was without a doubt. Everyone should have a thoughtful and beautiful childhood friend like you. I gave Kaede a great big hug. Reen, what's gotten into you? I'm just taking the time to truly show my appreciation. Your feelings? Then I guess that can't be helped. I'm not sure what she means, but she understood. She looked happy as she closed her eyes and silently accepted my hug. Itsuki would kill me if he saw this. He's never allowed to sleep over at our house. Ever. June 15th, a Tuesday. I thought I heard my alarm clock, but I couldn't recall. Well, when you think about it, people prefer waking up to a warm and natural voice rather than the artificial sound of an alarm clock. Reen, it's time to get up. That's why when I heard her gentle voice, my consciousness finally emerged. Reen? She gave me the same bright smile as usual. As my vision cleared and I recognized her face, I got up slowly. Good morning, Reen. Good morning. You could hear the drowsiness in my voice. I accepted the change of clothes Kaede handed to me. Breakfast is ready, so please come down soon. Having said that, Kaede walked away. I lightly shook my head and got out of bed as it required a lot of effort. Do you think what Mayumi said was true? Kaede asked as we walked to school. Mayumi? Oh, about the transfer students? According to her, they'll be here today. Well, I don't know where she gets it from, but her information seems to be pretty accurate. I'm curious about who they are. If they're transferring into our school, I'm sure they're not just regular humans. I wonder if they're demons, gods, or humans obsessed with alchemy. At that moment, two girls appeared in my mind. They were the two beautiful girls I had met the other day. They must have been the same age as us, and since they both hinted that we would meet again, there was a pretty good possibility. I thought back on the faces of the two unforgettable beauties and compared them with Kaede's. 3 beauties on that level in one class. What a luxury. Huh? No, nothing. I'm just thinking out loud. It was too good to be true. There was just no way. I mentally tried to convince myself of this and shook off that thought. Anyway, we'll find out once we get to school. I'm sure Itsuki's already going crazy. Let's hope they're fun people. We continue to talk about the transfer students the rest of the walk to school. It was an ordinary day, but maybe that was the instant everything ordinary ended. Morning. Good morning. We entered the classroom with our usual greetings, but something was clearly off about the scene. When did the school turn into an all-girls school? It was the languid time of the morning. Usually the guys were prostrated on their desks, all sleepy and lazy, but none of them were present today. The classroom had turned into an oasis of only women. Tsuchimi, you didn't walk by the faculty room this morning. Mayumi saw us come in and walked over. Why would I want to walk by the faculty room this early? Fair enough. Be glad, Kaede, Tsuchimi didn't fall victim. Did something happen at the faculty room? Happen? More like appear. You know, those transfer students. Oh, the ones you were talking about yesterday, right? What about them? Wouldn't you know it? It's exactly what Midoriba predicted. He impressed me again with that sense of his. His sense? You mean their first rate? The first rate of the first rate. Together, they're just irresistible. They're the talk of the school right now. Because of them, all the guys are crowded in front of the faculty room just to get a glimpse. I heard that quite a few of them were sent to the hospital because they fell over one another. From what I saw, that might actually be true. As you can see, it's even affecting the guys in our class as well. Don't they know that they can see them in homeroom? I get it. It's one of those sad facts about guys, like they say. You didn't go check out the scene, Mayumi? Usually you're the one with the camera before anyone else. Of course I did. I snapped headshots of both of them. She proudly pulled out her precious 5 million pixel image digital camera. If they'd only asked, I would have shown them. Guys always seem to lack a step in their thinking. I wondered just how she'd been able to get photos so fast. You'd think she was an emergency responder. Her determination to get a scoop was tenacious as always. And if I'm not mistaken, there might be a bit of a quarrel. What do you mean? Are they the unusual sort? Very much so. Do you want to see for yourself? With a suggestive smile, she handed me her precious camera. No, I'm okay. Homeroom's about to start anyways. I'll have the pleasure for a few more minutes. I see. You're keeping your cool. You must be used to it since you've already been served by a first-rate girl. Like you haven't told me that before. It's getting pretty old, you know. Did you hear that, Kaede? How can you be so heartless when you're so devoted to him? Well, I'm taking care of Ring simply because I like him. Before Kaede could finish, she was interrupted by a clamoring from the hallway. It seemed like they were all coming back. The door swung open as the guys marched in with a satisfied look on their faces, as if they had just experienced nirvana. Of course, Itsuki was one of them. I realize now just how immense this world is. It's exactly what that man told me the other day. If I had rated that lady an 80, I would have regretted it from the bottom of my heart today. He happily said as he pushed up his glasses to his nose with his index finger. They might be pretty high up there, judging by that description. Reen, be prepared to be blown away. Their first-rate smiles are truly something. I'm experiencing the same supreme bliss I felt when I first met Kaede. Just then, the door opened as if it acknowledged Itsuki's passion. Miss Spinny entered the classroom, her long black hair fluttering behind her and the attendance list in one hand. All right, everyone in their seats, especially the guys. I'm letting this one go since I sympathize with all of you, but you won't get away from it tomorrow. Do you understand? Yes. The scattered students hurried back to their seats at once. Miss Spinny stood at the podium, glanced around the male students' overly excited faces, and let out a sigh of defeat. It's obvious that further explanation would be a waste of time. You boys might explode if I wait any longer. Come in, both of you. The male students burst out in an excited cheer. Someone even set a cracker off, which was followed by a huge applause. Then, presented with such a grand welcome, the two slowly entered the classroom. Well, this is turning into a lot of fun. School in the human realm's not that bad. Lady killer? Yup, agreed. Surrounded by young, beautiful ladies, I feel young again myself. Expectations multiplied itself with the disappointment. These are the exact words that express the mental state of the students in the classroom at that very moment. The cheers, crackers, and applause all ceased, and dead silence dominated the classroom. What? What happened? What's with the silence? Where did all that energy go? Now, let's not scare them away just yet, Mr. God. They're still only children, so it must be that they're feeling shy or something like that. Oh, good point. From such young birds, what can you expect? Dressed in a Japanese kimono that didn't look good on him at all was a giant muscular man, and a slender man who gave a sense of danger. Wait, wasn't he the ladies' man from the other day? Well, this has certainly betrayed all expectations. I somehow managed to reboot my train of thought and asked Itsuki, who sat in the seat in front of me. Hey, Itsuki, they're the ultimate first-rate class. Did you mean that they were first-rate in personality? But their looks were no doubt first-rate. They would succeed in winning over a lot of women with their handsome faces. At the sound of my words, Itsuki recovered his soul and cried. This can't be! He shook his head in a panic. He then turned to face the back of the room. Hey, Mayumi? No. Wrong. It seemed like they were not the transfer students after all. It surely would have taken school life up a notch with transfer students like them, but I have to admit I was relieved that it wasn't. So, which one's that lad you were talking about? Give me a minute. The demon who abruptly looked my way and our eyes met. Which? My eyes then met with the god. Then they both started to walk directly towards me. Hey, Reen, sorry about the other day, but because of that, I have a better sense of who you are. You seem to be truly sincere, as men should be. A man who is sincere and is able to love a woman wholeheartedly. It's very crucial. Excuse me, but who are you to be telling me that? I'm relying on you to take care of Narine. That's right, they're their fathers. His long arms reached out and forced a handshake on me. His hands were unexpectedly strong despite his appearance. Hey. No trying to elbow yourself in there, Mr. Devil King. Plus, I have to disagree with you. A man's man is all about power, you see? They must have the great power to protect a woman at any given moment. You could tell by the look at him that he was no exception in his philosophy. Well, at a glance he's got a pretty good build. He's got a promising future. Reen, I'm counting on you to take good care of Sia. Got it? He patted me on the shoulder with his enormous hands. I thought my shoulder was going to dislocate from the force of his powerful arms. More importantly, what the heck is going on here? Father! The god's head suddenly turned to the side. Simultaneously, there was a sound like someone's head was struck with a chair. Sia, I thought I taught you to abstain from throwing chairs. I can't help being hot-blooded. This is the perfect sort of stress release for me. A godlike girl appeared behind the muscular man. Oh, she was the girl who I'd met at the store the other day. Both of her hands tightly gripped the chair as she glared at the muscular man. She really did strike him with a chair. You've gone too far yourself, father. Reen seems very startled right now. And another one. One more girl appeared from behind the ladies' man. As expected, she was the other girl I had met the other day. I didn't mean to startle him. As a father, I just wanted to meet and say a few words to him. That's why we were talking about meeting him later tonight, remember? Well, Mr. God and I discussed it further and thought it'd be a good idea to greet everyone who will be taking care of you both here at school. Hey, Mr. Devil King, don't single me out like that. We agreed on that idea together. But when I tried to stop you, you said, I'll go alone if you're not coming with me. Don't you remember that? Damn you, that's low. You gladly followed me saying, in that case, I will join you. You're both at fault. Yeah. In an instant, they both became unbelievably despondent. Seemed like the daughters were the ones with all the power. I feel like this similar scene happens in the anime at one of their houses instead. Interesting to see it's at school. Then, as if she had been anticipating this moment, a stiff voice rang out. So, shall we move forward with the introductions? Yes. Behind the four of them, Miss Spinny stood waiting with a lovely smile. 15 minutes had passed since the start of homeroom. The introduction of the transfer student was finally back on track. The whole class was glued to the sight of the two beautiful girls who stood beside the teacher. My name's Lysianthus. I'm from the God Realm. It's a bit of a long name, so please just call me Sia. My name is Narine. I came from the Demon Realm. If you'd like, please call me Rena. I'm Eustoma, Sia's father. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'm also King of the Gods for future reference. I'm for Bessie. I'm Narine's father and the King of the Devils. I'm pleased to make your acquaintances. Thank you, gentlemen. Even with veins visible on her forehead, Mrs. Binny smiled and didn't falter. I at once admired and sympathized with her. But wait a minute, didn't those two just say something outrageous? Hey, Itsuki, did they just say Sia and Narine, huh? Such beauties do exist? I wonder if they have boyfriends. Well, even if they do, it wouldn't matter to me. I'll just have to snatch them away. First, I have to work on winning over their fathers. He's a lost cause. Hey, Mayumi? Mayumi nodded as if she already knew and blatantly said it all. I told you there might be some quarrels. With those words, I felt my face starting to grow pale. Then, as she understood my feelings, Kaede raised her hand straight up toward the ceiling. Miss Adashiko, I thought I heard something unbelievable just now. Did they just say they're the kings of gods and devils? Miss Spinny looked as if she knew that was coming. Well, yes, that's exactly what you heard. It's extremely disappointing. No, it's extremely deplorable. Not that either. It's extremely hard to believe, but the two men here hold the position of King of the God Realm and King of the Demon Realm. Their daughters are the transfer students. You know what I'm trying to say, right, Midoriba? Of course, there's no need to worry. I'll make them happy no matter what. Actually, I'm telling you to stay away, please. Miss Minnie glared at Itsuki with a murder in her dark eyes. Please ignore the fact that I'm the daughter of the King of the Gods. Please think of me as just another classmate in the human realm. I don't like it when people treat me as a princess. That goes for me as well. I hope to be treated as a friend like everyone else. Did you get that, Midoriba? They just want you to treat them as friends. Nothing more, nothing less. Of course, all passionate relationships start out as friends first. His eyes gleamed as he spoke his mind. Miss Minnie watched him with a warm smile as she knew something all along. But actually, Sweet Chi, yes. Miss Minnie suddenly faced me, this time with a worn-out look on her face. You're the one who's going to be responsible for them. Huh? In shock, every male student's eyes in the classroom were now on me. It's been decided, given the extreme extenuating circumstances. Miss Minnie, what do you mean by extreme extenuating circumstances? Ah, yes. Why don't I explain that to you myself? The King of Devils took a step forward as he started to speak. Basically, Rin, you've been chosen as a fiance candidate for both Narine and Sia. What? Without any hesitation, the King of Devils oh so readily made a truly absurd statement. The majority of the male students' eyes immediately filled with bloodlust. Well, if I were to be more direct, you're the candidate to be the next in line for the throne of both the God and Demon realms, so which do you desire? If you choose my Sia, you can use your authority any way you want in the God realm. Not so fast, Mr. God. Know that if you choose Narine, you'll have all the authority in the Demon realm. Without thinking, I pinched my cheeks, and it hurt. That means that this wasn't a dream. If this wasn't a dream, what else could it be? Delusion? Illusion? Near-death experience? Yeah, that's right. I must have been involved in a car accident. I was experiencing a distorted reality because I was on the verge of death. It must be. I decided that must be it. I can't make that call myself. That would mean I'm dead. I glanced over towards the front of the room and saw the blushing faces of the beautiful girls smiling and looking happy. Judging by the look on their faces, this was obviously not a joke or a lie. Please, wait a second. How did this all even happen? Honestly, I have no idea why I was chosen as a candidate. I raised my voice and stood up with great force. To that, the King of Devils nodded with his arms folded. Well, it's true that you were quite young, so it's understandable that you may not recall it. You kids have met before, although it was just for one day. Father, about that. The girl with the blue hair bashfully clutched at the cuff of the King Devil's sleeve. The King of Devils caressed his daughter's head. We've met, a childhood encounter, and a fleeting awakening of love. The two never let go of that feeling in their hearts, and as you can see, with Narine's bust size, she has more than enough room for it to grow. It's impressive, wouldn't you say? She held on to the feeling all this time, hoping to see you again. Hey, Mr. King Devil, my Sia's bust may not be as big as Narine's, but it's certainly not small. She's still growing too. There's still a possibility that they'll grow even bigger. The King of God's head slid to the side again. She probably hit him with another chair. Father, please, don't embarrass me any further. Didn't she know any other way to stop her father that didn't involve a chair? Look, Rena's all petrified with embarrassment. But listen to me, this is the time to sell yourself, Sia. You don't need to do that for me, Father. Okay. The King of the Gods was then pushed away towards the hallway by his daughter. He was followed by the King of Devils, who headed for the hall voluntarily, but then he stopped partway, looked back at me, and lightly raised his hand. If you want more detail, I suggest you ask the girls or try to remember yourself. In any case, I'm counting on you to take care of Narine and Sia for us, Rin. Yup, take care. And so, the two fathers were forced out by their daughters, but the damage they left was immense, like a super extra-large hurricane just passed through. Kaede, wake up! Did you just faint in your seat? Okay guys, I'm going to stop this episode here. Now that we've pretty much met everyone, I think there might be 2 more characters that we need to meet, Primula and the blonde one. I hope you guys are getting into the story. I really liked this show because it was super funny and comical, as you can see. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of this Let's Play, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!